Crowd. Our next panel is going to be led by the founder of Regen Media, which is a partner organization of Green to Gold, our co-host for this event. And so Regen Media is a, a global effort at multi-channel distribution of amazing content related to a regenerative planet. So, Michael, I'll invite you to introduce your panelists, and I'll step away. Okay.
Absolutely. And thank you. Superpowers for Good. You are living embodiment of superheroes that are helping to make a difference on the planet. And of course, you with another collaborator, Professor Alan Tratner, and just a few of our solutionary, innovator, luminary superheroes are here on the call today. So thank you so much, Devin, for all that you do. So I'm going to start with just to introduce everyone, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about Earthstock Enterprises, which is my company. But even more than just kind of promoting my own silo, we are fast tracking and accelerating platforms for building strategic alliances with people to help implement and deploy some of these solutions, both here in the United States and around the world. We know we don't need to create new systems of doing things. If we look towards how nature and nature's intelligence operates, it's called social permaculture. And we look at everything from, again, nature's intelligence from the mycelial roots, how those feed into the trunk connects to the limbs to the branches, and the branches, if properly nourished and cultivated, will bear fruit. I think we live in a world these things very siloed and myopic, and everyone is kind of doing their specialistic thing, but we're very little connectivity. So what we're going to do today is this is a call to action immediately for connectivity, for people to get involved and again bring our collective superpowers together so that we can regenerate faster than things are kind of falling apart. So with that, very quickly, my personal work, I'm Michael DiMartino. I'm the CEO of Earthstock Enterprises, an organization dedicated to regenerative solutions for people and planet. So part of doing that is over the last 8 years of knowing Professor Tratner, and now is putting together a database, a resource directory of literally hundreds of consultants and contractors and products that we're going to be actually launching in the next few days to be able to, again, reach people and for them to be able to have access to solutions. So besides doing this Alliance for Regenerative Communities, which involves you, again, we're inviting you to come out of your silo, and Aari will be talking about the platform. We have a couple other projects we're going to do, and I'm going to introduce people that are doing that today. I like to be very simple in our approach to not taking on more than we can eat and actually digest and actually create. We're not here to create more noise or add more information to the system, but we're here to actually again, take action with some very practical initiatives. The next project we're doing, besides the consulting company, is my personal pet project is working on regenerative academies. Currently, right now, we're connected with land in Colorado, California, Costa Rica, Ecuador, and Bali that want to do these types of regenerative academies. Not an eco-village, not a commune, but location where people can come and get the training, the skills, the resources that they need to be able to be more green, sustainable, and regenerative. Because, you know, right now we can't count on broken leadership. We all have to roll up our sleeves and get involved in this incredible, what we call the Regeneration. The next piece, speaking of Regeneration, we are working on a film. And we're going to circle back around to her later. But during the Earthstock 5-day summit recently in LA with over 200 presenters, you can check out earthstockfestival.com. We brought a lot of people together in response to the wildfires that happened here. So that's something that is happening right now. And again, all of these things are very investable. We have our executive summaries, our investor decks. I'm not here to give you a pitch. I'm here to inspire you today and be like, what can I do? Even if I'm sitting watching this on E360, or if you're watching this on SuperCrowd or on Regen TV, or you might be consuming this information, like get up and reach out and communicate with us. And the one that I'm really excited about right now is the Alliance for Regenerative Communities, which is a platform for non-hierarchical strategic alliances. And we're going to have Aari talk about that. He is the co-founder and the CTO, the Chief Technical Officer for that. And then lastly, because we focus on regenerative solutions and sustainability, not for just the ecology, like what's outside of us and nature and water and food security and agriculture and all these things, but human beings are part of the ecosystem. So we're very focused on what we call regenerative health and wellness. And we have kind of a guru of regenerative health and wellness and longevity and biohacking in LA joining us today. But we're about to launch the Regenerative Health Alliance, which is another resource directory of going into places and bringing health and wellness to people. So with that, I'd like to share a little bit more, but I really want to dig in right now. And first and foremost, I want to talk with Aari Loftipour, who is the CTO and the co-founder of Alliance for Regenerative Communities. We have Devin here. We're just going to show a couple pages of the website. We're not taking you down the rabbit hole too far, but I do want to introduce him to share a little bit about Alliance for Regenerative Communities. So welcome, Aari, and thank you, Devin.
Awesome. Thank you, Michael, and thank you, Devin. Yeah, so as I said, we started building this a couple months ago. Really excited about the way it's developing and kind of our trajectory with it. I said this is our solution so that non-hierarchical initiatives can be started, seeded, and become successful. If you want to scroll down a little bit to our 4 boxes, keep going, and right there. So we're building regenerative communities together with our collaborative network with solutions focus. We've got an AI-powered project agent in the back that we've built to help with analyzing the projects, figuring out tasks, divvying up those tasks, assigning those tasks to different participants in that initiative. And then we'll have some next step features that we'll be developing to put all this into very investable materials. So all these initiatives can be fleshed out, financialed, and be qualified for investments. Now, if we want to go pop up to the initiatives page, we can talk a little bit about those. And let's go ahead and click on the Soil Summit initiative. Scroll down just a little bit. There we go. Actually, more. That should open a little bit. Here's a brief description of what's going on in that initiative. So right now, members can go in here and actually be able to upload documents, upload meeting notes, and I said assign tasks to different members within that group. So that's a big core set of features in there. But as you join as a member, you're able to see all of the features in there. There's an AI task assistant. So each task you can access that assistant and collaborate with it on what those deliverables need to be, and then those deliverables get sent back to the project. So there's those tools. Devin, if we want to go up to the resources page at the top there, close that out. Resources. And these are various different resources that we have available through the platform. You can scroll down a little bit. These are things within our network that we vetted, we've used, and these are the vendors that we would connect you with. So lots of different things in here, even things massage, app development, website development. That's mine. Bookkeeping, if you need a patent attorney, all kinds of resources in there that we can access. And which is soil and water remediation. That's going to become really relevant here as we move forward with the Soil Summit and the Altadena Rising campaign that I'm starting. So, now if you want to click benefits up there, and we'll close out with that. But here, all the benefits of the platform. You can create initiatives, you can put up referral opportunities and monetize those up to 10% baseline, up to 15% referral. Is available for some of those opportunities. We've got the Regen Media, the magazine. That's where promotions will be displayed. If you are a member, you can get for promotional space on that and through the virtual world. Scroll down a little bit, and we're offering event discounts for any of the events that we produce through the platform. You get access to all the community chat channels, the different networks that Michael has been putting together, and we'll be putting together a knowledge base of several different, documents and curriculum for people to learn from and potentially earn some incentives down the line as we build that out. So,
excellent. Thank you so much, Aari, for your technical genius. And I know that you have a lot of resources that you offer through the platform, and you're doing projects in Africa, the Congo Green, and others. So again, this is a very highly vetted, active network of people who want to collaborate, not compete, that want to form strategic alliances, that want to benefit from a list of all the different events that are coming up, things like Super Green, the Disaster Expo, other events related to the World Biohacking Summit, which is in Los Angeles, and other things. So we are committed to being connective tissue. While people are talking about collaborating, we all have to get together. Well, we need practical, grounded platforms to do that and onboard. So again, I want to thank Aari for his genius to help bring the next level of this project of the Alliance for Regenerative Communities into fruition. If you're interested, you can go to the word Alliance, the number 4, Regen, Regen, com, COMM for communities.com. So it's Alliance, the number 4, regencom.com website, and learn more about it. So next, I want to pivot to another one of our solutionaries. And we're going to come back around in just a minute, because we're going to talk to Ajay, because a big part of this is like, okay, we can have great ideas. We can be generating revenue through working utilities and platforms and products and brokering out consultants and contractors. But in order to work at the pace that we really have to, we're going to need infusions of investors and funding. So before we go to Ajay, I wanted just to connect with Greg Wolfe. Greg Wolfe is the founder of Wolfe Wellness. He does amazing work in Southern California. We met him at Earthstock, and he was doing a lot of work there, and also support for some of the survivors and victims of the fires there. But he's boots on the ground in LA and doing amazing work. So welcome, and you could tell us a little bit about your work, Greg, and what is regenerative health or biohacking and this longevity wellness movement about?
Thank you, Michael. All right, here's a few minutes to ground in who I am, what I do, and why I'm here. So, little about me. For over 2 decades, I've personally worked inside many Fortune 500 companies, mid-sized government orgs, as a senior business analyst, trainer, project manager, even worked with the United Nations in Vienna for a few years. I was living the high stress, high output corporate life from the inside. And my career looked successful on paper, but my health was unraveling. I had fatigue, weight gain, gut issues, brain fog, burnout, and doctors couldn't explain it. So that background became my turning point. Over the last decade, I rebuilt my health from the root up. I began integrating functional diagnostics, nutrition, detox, nervous system repair, really evidence-based medicine. Nothing from pharmaceutical testing, and using also time-tested practices from the ancient wisdom of our elders in China and India and Europe. So I tested everything on myself, kept what works. Today, I work through Wolfe Wellness. I picked up a certification, integrative health coach. I work both one-on-one with individuals and corporate groups. I help people reclaim their energy, clarity, resilience, and really getting back their long-term vitality in ways that really fit life, not some idealized fantasy, but tangible results. So what makes my work powerful and different? I don't approach wellness as advice. I don't treat symptoms. I work at it as systems optimization. In other words, by measuring what really matters, using small design changes that stick, we build biological resistance that shows as better focus, mood, and performance. Now, as I met Michael, and it led me to collaborate with more experts and have a further reach. I've started finding out about Reliance Regenerative Communities, the Regen Responders Initiative. That naturally appealed to me. It's a way to really connect with more people, going out in groups. Regen Responders is about taking regenerative health out of theory and bringing it directly into workplaces, communities. We use mobile, on-site wellness clinics, experiential health activations. That means instead of lectures, we deliver hands-on diagnostics, real-time insights, immediate improvements, a group of many practitioners working together in synergy that you just can't put together very easily anywhere else. And people feel it in their bodies that same day as it gets them on a future path of optimizing and upgrading their lifestyle so that the changes stick. Now, as I wrap up here, I just want you to know from an investment perspective, this space is actually very compelling because regenerative health isn't just a philosophy. We've got RFK Jr. really helping to open out the mind about what is health in America. And I love how he's leading the charge and getting people to change their attention this way. It's becoming huge. Of course, we've got the baby boomers who are really well-heeled and finding out that they're not as enjoying their health and wealth as much as they'd like to. So this is a scalable, product-driven ecosystem. Combines high growth demand, consumer-facing offerings, measurable outcomes, and ethical alignment while addressing the root causes of chronic stress, burnout, and disease. So in short, as I wrap up, we're not trying to fix symptoms. We're restoring systems, biological, organizational, and communal, not to mention, of course, the rest of regenerative communities working on the soil and the earth at the same time. So when people feel better and they think better, look, everything improves. The world is a better place. So if it resonates, if someone's looking for ways to explore, I should say, and support and participate in this very unique regenerative model, I'd enjoy comparing notes and providing further details.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Greg Wolfe, putting the wolf in wellness. And we appreciate you. And I will say we also have a whole list of different products that we're going to be offering if you're even outside of the LA region. I think what's exciting is all of these models we're creating, I talked with Stephen the other day, can be kind of duplicated into different bioregions here across the US and really around the world. So again, this isn't just people working in their silo, but they're doing stuff that has global impact for people and planet. So with that, I want to pivot now to another one of the initiatives we're working on. Many of you might be familiar with the work of people like Buckminster Fuller, Barbara Marx Hubbard, global visionaries. I call it full spectrum regenerative design because we have to learn to look at all the different aspects of society and of humanity right now. Instead of putting Band-Aids on cancer for us to truly move forward, we have to bring all these things together. So I want to just share about the film, about this regenaissance that we're in. We're composting the old. We're letting the new innovators and luminaries, solutionaries kind of come to the forefront. We're not counting on broken leadership, but we have to bring together all these areas right now: arts and culture, indigenous wisdom and land stewardship, ecology, which also includes resilience, disaster response, infrastructure, things like waste, recycling, building, how we get our power, transportation, food, water, safety, security, also agriculture, regenerative agriculture, permaculture, health and wellness, green technologies, also the idea of a green economy, which we have Professor Tratner and Devin who are very tapped into that. The idea of peace and justice, education, and media and communication. So for me, after doing this work for 40 years, we have to bring all the pieces, what they say in indigenous cultures, we have to bring the sacred hoop back together. So in order to do that, we decided the best way to reach people is by doing a major documentary project. And we now have our producer who's shown up, and she has a great background, and would like to share a little bit about herself and her vision for this collaborative film project. I'd like to welcome Julia Lentz.
Hi, everyone. I'm here today, and I'm really excited to share this with you all. In my background, I've worked with Tyrell Ventura, who is Jesse Ventura's son. Both sides, I believe that media really changes the world and that art shifts culture. And so I'm really honored to be here today because what we're talking about is not just a trend, it's a timeline. And it's a movement. And honestly, at this point, it's a survival story with everything that we're seeing happening in the media and with climate change. And right now, the working title is Regeneration. It's going to track sustainability and regenerative movement through Woodstock through the decades till now, not as a nostalgia piece, but as more of a map of what we've tried, what's worked, what's gotten co-opted, what's finally emerging as the clearest blueprint for resilience. And what makes this moment different is that we're no longer debating whether climate change is real. We're living inside the consequences. So it's really important for us all to come together and work with each other. And Michael has created ARC, which is one of the first of its kind to bring people together on such a large scale. The film is uniquely positioned because it's connected to a global alliance already in motion. We've got Patrick McCollum that we're connected to, who was featured in The Man Who Saves the World. And we are also connected with the team behind Kiss the Ground, which is one of the largest documentaries to come out in recent years. We've also kind of comping it to The Littlest Big Farm, which was a totally just one person donated $1 million to this campaign, and it raised $5 million in ROI. So there's all sorts of opportunities for these films to make money, to raise awareness, to do all the things that media can and will be doing in the future to bring about the best future that we can hope for. So with that said, we've got our Kickstarter going, and if you'd like to fund it or share it, please talk to Michael through the Earthstock Foundation. And that's about it for now.
Great. Julia, so inspired about this film. My goosebumps get goosebumps. Actually,
I'm excited for this too.
In some of and we have luminaries like Devin Thorpe from the Super Green Global Crowdfunding, who knows all the biggest crowdfunding platforms. People like Joshua from Global Capital Network and Brad Turner, where Aari and Greg were just out in Las Vegas. So we know all the biggest events of A4M and biohacking, and luminaries like Professor Tratner, the co-founder of Earth Day, and indigenous leaders and people who are working on technology. So we're really excited. We're going to actually start the shooting February 21st for the big soil summit in Altadena in Los Angeles. And we're going to start teaching the community how to test soil and how to clean the soil, because it's a huge immediate problem. So we can envision the future, but we have to kind of walk the talk about sustainability. So again, thank you for being here. We are going to open up the group here in a minute for just talking back and forth. But I'd like to go on now, because this whole platform of Super Green, and again, I go back to a year ago to Pro Dojo, where I met Ajay Dugar and the work that he's doing and the people he knows. Part of it is we have to connect these initiatives and projects and entrepreneurs with funding. And it takes a very specific way to do that through executive summaries and pitch decks. You can't just, throw ideas out and think it's going to get funded. But we know the right people. But so part of this alliance is having people who know how to navigate that investment ecosystem. When with that, I'd like to welcome the genius and his skill set to our meeting today in panel, Ajay Dugar.
Well, thank you, Michael. Hello, everyone. Like Michael said, I've had a long history and a passion for, regenerative is a relatively recent word, but I've always been associated or influenced by the movements that are happening to do with environment and our climate and the evolution of clean technologies and so on. I spent 20 plus years in corporate America with companies, large, medium, and small, primarily doing business development and partnerships. Now, what I do over the last few years is as an advisor to founders and founding teams, I help them, on business growth strategies, primarily through strategic partnerships. And the second aspect of it is investment relations, you may call it. right? Which is where I have an investor network on one side, a couple of investor networks that I belong to that include venture capitalists, angel investors, as well as family offices, single and multi-family. And on the other side, I have the entrepreneurs, the founders and the founding teams that are looking for help, most primarily for capital, but they're also looking for connections within the industry and how can they get out there and scale up, right? Because scaling seems to be the challenge of the moment right now. So as I look at connecting platforms to projects and investors, I look at there's so many different ways, right? You have public and multilateral funding, green bonds and sustainability linked loans, blended finance, carbon environmental markets. And then, of course, you got private equity and impact investment. And that's an area that I focus on, funds targeting high integrity, nature positive projects. And there's plenty of them. Fortunately, we live in a time when there's a lot of those projects that are ongoing. And I'm also the Los Angeles chapter ambassador for a group called Top Tier Impact, which is, again, a network of individuals, investors, founders, and senior leaders in the world of impact. So that's what I do, and I'm looking forward to working with Michael and on his ARC platform, as well as the other initiatives that we're talking about. Thank you.
Great. So I'm going to kind of open it up for just a little bit of a chat right now. And because, again, we are all very collaborative by nature, and I think there's different things we can bring out. I find it very interesting after I learned at the Super Crowd event last year, what's the difference of crowdfunding, reward-based crowdfunding, what's equity crowdfunding, again, what are some of the materials that we really have to attract the type of resource and investment that's needed. He might be off in the wings. I'm going to see if Professor Troutner would like to join us for a minute, because he is very much not just a part of ARC with his green incubator. Green to Gold has incubated over 400, probably 500 nonprofits doing major impact work around the world. But he's also really the co-founder of Regen Media, TV on YouTube and Vimeo, the Regen Global Quarterly Magazine, and also we now have the regenerative virtual world with multiple stages, ongoing film festivals, and we're starting to put up curriculum. So I'm a little biased. I don't want to toot our horn, but all of this is happening, like all of these different elements to an interconnected, holistic ecosystem is functioning because we've all decided to work in a non-hierarchical way as a strategic alliance. So there he is. We have Mr. Earth Day in Hawaii here with us. I'd like to welcome Professor Alan Troutner.
Rigid hierarchies. Your alliance fosters.
Hey, aloha, everyone. I'm pleased. I'm listening so intently to this wonderful session. Didn't know I was going to come on. I was getting prepared for our sustainable fashion coming up after you. What would you like me to say, Michael?
If you could just share, since we are part of a connected ecosystem, just mention briefly your work and about, we're launching the app, the Regen Global, and it's connecting with the Alliance for Regenerative Communities, and we're combining so many things together. But just a little snapshot of your skill sets for people who might see this segment.
Will do. So it goes this way. First of all, as has already been pointed out, I'm the co-host, co-producer of the Super Green Live. We're just excited about this third day and how it's winding up, and it's the grand finale, and having you folks be on. It represents an amazing opportunity for us. So everybody, I think, now knows that when I helped found Earth Day, we also created and launched Green to Gold in the Environmental Education Group, and that was the first pioneering global incubator that was impact, and it was about the transition to sustainability and building the global inclusive green economy. Now, in all these 56 years now, with 100,000 ventures and entrepreneurs and innovators and inventors and funders and everything, and scientists and engineers. We also have been unique that we are nonprofit and tax exempt ourselves, and we've fostered, hundreds of nonprofits that are socially and environmentally responsible. But one of the great things that happened, I met Michael. He had an enterprise that was going to be Earthstock festivals, and it was a whole idea to kind of regenerate the idea of entertainment like Earthstock originally was, Woodstock, the first version of that everyone knows kind of changed a lot of lives. And so I thought we could help him. He became a member. And then we talked about his nonprofit and creating it, and that's what we do. We foster that. And out of that, we've had an alliance build called Regen Global. And Regen Global is about 3 different focuses. One is resilience and prevention of climate-driven disasters. The second one that kind of arose, unfortunately, but nicely out of the Lahaina disaster that where I am in Maui is Build Back Green. And it was about how do you build back sustainably and renewably and regenerate the soil and be food secure and energy secure and clean the water and produce good green jobs. And that was Build Back Green, and it's already taken a life of its own. And the third thing is the whole focus of what I was all about in the creation of Earth Day. That was this invent the future. We invented our way into the mess of all the pollution. We can invent our way out. We're proving that every day, and especially here at Super Green Live, the innovation that's possible. And what that means is that a community, a nation, a state likes to come in and bring our Green to Gold incubator, our micro manufacturing hub, our whole entire thing that we've been talking about, this ARC, the opportunity in Regen Global to have all these consultants and contractors and innovators and methodologists and technologies and products have that whole array. And we actually build a harm-free emporium for that purpose to reach the consumers. The ultimate goal is to have people make decisions with their pocketbooks and their purses and what they buy and what they do in the world. That makes a big difference to support the companies and nonprofits that are making this kind of difference. So that's a quick summary of what it's all about. We have an app coming very quickly now. A lot of work went into it to make it available on your phones and mobile devices, but it will tell you, and you've heard a little bit today in the presentation about the different levels of membership and opportunities for everyone to engage. And this non-hierarchical opportunity is that we're not competing with ego and silos or against each other. We're trying to collaborate, and where the right solution is available and the right fit to the problem, we want to deploy it. And I think that's the excitement of what we're trying to do here. So thank you for pressurizing me into this situation that I'm not prepared for, but we wish you great success.
I gave up my other career choice. It was a regenerative cat herd rancher in Wyoming. So this is what I do now. So again,
mahalo to everybody. Rich, thank you, and goodbye for now. But thank you for what you're all doing, contributing to this movement that's so vital to the world.
And I'm glad you got to meet Aari briefly. Aari got to meet you. He's going to be a great technological and support for us in many different areas. And he's doing projects. So many incredible luminaries here. And again, big shout out to
Julia and Greg and I know AJ, and I'm just thrilled about what you're putting together. This is just a small section of the kinds of talent you've herded, as you said. So goodbye for now.
Thank you.
Join us in the sustainable fashion, which is a big thing that all of you could actually help in that area of sustainable clothing around the world, in the creation of it, the growing of textiles, reducing the pollution. Amazing coming up right after this session.
Yeah, stay tuned for the Sustainable Fashion Show. So in order to move forward, I want to just open it up to everyone about some talking points. Right now we need holistic, full spectrum regenerative solutions. We can't stay myopic and in our silos, even though we do need specialists, but we can't put Band-Aids on cancer anymore because things are collapsing faster than they can regenerate. And things can regenerate if people stop damaging themselves, their own health, and the planet. During the COVID, as bad as it was, we did see nature started to regenerate when we weren't poisoning it and destroying it. And right now, that all of us as individuals need to roll up our sleeves and be part of the solution, not the problem. We can't think the government or some organization is going to come in on a white horse and do all the work. We all have to get involved. How we do that right now is we have something called regenerative roundtables, where we can come into bioregions and get people identifying cultural resources and NGOs that need to work together. We have this membership community. ARC can easily take on other appendages and bioregionalism, and also, partnerships with NGOs, civic leaders, nonprofits. And there's a lot of events coming up. If you go to Alliance, the number 4, Regencom, COMM.com, there's a whole listing there. And we want to invite you, if you have skill sets, to become members. So with that, I'm just going to kind of, as we say in native tradition, put the feather in the circle, and whoever would like to add to our open discussion in the last 10 minutes or so that we have.
Yeah, I'd just like to say, I think that ARC is really something special. As someone who, I didn't mention this earlier, but I've also led as a community leader and was the property manager of an intentional community outside of San Diego. And I met many, many different folks doing all sorts of things in the regenerative space over the course of a year and a half there. And what Michael's doing is really, it's something else. And he's been at it for so long, for 40 years now, right, Michael?
I got wrinkles.
He's got the proof right there. But yeah, I think the ARC and the Regenerative Alliance website and the app together that Aari's producing are just so revolutionary, and it really is important to bring people together and stop just sitting in the powwows, and actually grab the feather and get together and actually get the ball rolling, get this movement going.
Absolutely. And I will say, this is definitely a we thing. This is a we thing. We're at that moment. This is part of the Regeneration. The regenerative renaissance is we're going from individuals to collectives to communities to bioregionalism for solutions. So again, all of you and the other 100 people that aren't on the panel today, and the potentiality is incredible. I do want to ask really quick. I know we all talked about the investability in films and health and technology and stuff. I don't know if AJ wants to share any more insights about, since this is a super green event, about his ideas or methodologies for investment, or the details of how more is moving into impact funding, or give us a little more insight about that.
Yes, for sure. Impact investing the term has been around for, I would say, a decade or two, but it's really evolved with time. And the evolution we've seen in the last 48 months or so has been, dramatic. And one of the ways that it's been so influential is because of this resurgence of what's often referred to as blended finance. Right. So when you talk about impact investments, any structures that combine, philanthropic or public capital with private investments in an effort primarily to de-risk projects, but more importantly, make those projects more tenable. A lot of times, government sources will come in and say, "Well, we will give you a grant, or we can write you a check, but we will not be your first investor. You have to get a certain amount from private sources, and then we'll either match it or we come in and help you out there." And what that has given rise to is a lot of private institutions that had philanthropic ambitions, but were always so ROI focused because of their stakeholders, are now starting to take another look at it and say, you know what? If the philanthropic sources or the government sources are going to come in and help out, and they're just waiting for us to take the first step, we're actually going to do it. And and this goes beyond corporate social responsibility. It's actual, passion about making an impact. And so I'm happy to see that trend again picking up and that resurgence happening again. It used to happen a while ago, but we kind of lost that public-private partnership. It's coming back.
Encouraging. Yeah, invest in, that was part of Earthstock. Alan did say a little bit, when we created Earthstock, I actually started it initially as a green alternative to Burning Man. And I'm not saying this against Burning Man, but 85,000 people in the desert with generators Burning a Man, great. Art, amazing. But imagine if 85,000 people got together every year and spent that ticket money on doing a regenerative project. So we did the first one in 2019. 2020, 21, we were doing a big 5,000 person event here in Nevada City, and then the COVID got shut down. And that's when Alan pivoted and said, listen, make this a nonprofit, make it a company, and put all of the values of Earthstock into an organization. So again, I want to emphasize this is a me thing. I kind of say, like, we're not cat herders anymore. We're bringing the lions to the and lionesses to the round table. So it's all about collaboration. Do you have anything you'd like to share, Aari, on those thoughts? I know you work in many worlds, and again, you help actualize this actual living platform right now, the Alliance for Regenerative Communities. Would you like to share something?
Yeah, and before we got to work on this, I was building out the Lemon Club, and one of those was a turnkey initiative launchpad that moves into an NFT to fundraise and all that. So I think that's really what I'm excited about building out next, because obviously we need to get all the ducks in the row, and then financing is going to have to be creative. If that NFT launch can be paired with some local musicians and artists that feel aligned with that. That's another way we can bring different groups together to get exposure and participation. So I think we just keep moving in that direction of how do we strategically collaborate to create more more view, more audience, and more alignment with the crowd that is going to be the real energy that moves all these positive impact initiatives forward. So
amazing. And I will say, we haven't told everyone, but the surprise is come summer, as we populate the platform, everybody does get a digital token for ARC, for the Alliance for Regenerative Communities. And then probably towards the end of the year, we're going to take a big vote on where do we all want to combine our superpowers in the project. And it's just a way to create, again, kind of a sociocratic model of, like, we can all kind of focus on, even if we can get everyone focused in the same direction once a year, the impact that can make is incredible. So I want to go back to again, our health and wellness guru here. If Greg would like to add anything, because again, for those of you who might be watching, for those of you who are investors and you're looking at, what is it, 200, 400%? What's my ROI? ROI is great. Making a profit is great. But if we don't have health of the planet, we don't have our own personal health, like, what is that actually really worth in the big picture? So any thoughts you have, Greg, about the quality of life and the value of health and wellness?
There are a few little points, and I'll just throw it out there. What I've noticed is that ARC is a truly unique place because it's bringing together health, ecology, community, and economics all together. It's not just talking about the future, okay? People like to pontificate, this is possible, we have this product. ARC is taking products, people, places, and performing it in making it happen. It's a prototype, it's a unique prototype, it's a growing community, it's really snowballing. I'm saying it grow exponentially every time I look at it. And it's taking this stuff and it's making real change happen. It's happening, it's aligning capital, health, longevity, resilience, and the land, rebuilding everything, people and the land. Look, we are made from the land, right? We're from the dust of the earth. So our health and the earth's health are intimately intertwined. We've got to look after them at the same time. So I'm here because this work is needed, and it's actually working.
And before we finish, thank you. Again, since it's a we thing, before we finish in about 5 minutes, I want to have everyone just share your website, because again, all of you are available individually as administrative consultants, business consultants, health consultants, media consultants, technological consultants. We also know people, Brian Figueroa, who's been on the Super Green event, who's doing map building to scale natural building houses. People who are here who are doing microgrids, solar power, wind power. I mean, it's truly incredible. So I want to make sure everyone just shares their website and also goes to the Alliance for Regenerative Community website, which is now up. But I wanted to just share some of the value again very quickly in 60 seconds. We have about 4 minutes left. So we have a Regen Global magazine that was co-founded with Professor Troutner. It already reaches over 85,000 people quarterly. There's opportunities for articles and advertising. If you want to put an article, we'll give you an ad to promote yourself. We have the Regen Media TV. There's so much. I say we're in the information saturation generation, so we need more regeneration generation, which is transgenerational from baby boomers to Generation Z. So we have a media channel where we have very quick podcast of some of the members of the resource directory so you can know their work. I just interviewed Mark Nelson, one of the founders of Biosphere, a total genius in waste management and gardening. I mean, incredible. But to do this, I wanted to share some of the other value we bring is like a list of events right now. We just did the investor conference in Las Vegas with Aari and Greg. Went to A4M. We were able to get support at that event. We have Super Green, which ends today with the fashion show after this. February 21st and 2nd is the Soil Summit, where we're teaching people soil testing and how to remediate soil after natural disasters. Conscious Life Expo, February 20th. The Climate Leaders Luncheon will be out in the cameras with Julia on March 3rd in Anaheim. Expo West, one of the biggest natural health products expos in the country, March 4th and 5th. And then we have the Disaster Expo in March. That's going to be in Miami, showing people like, what do you do if you're a victim of climate change or not related natural disasters? We are going to be doing our first Regenerative Health Alliance Health Clinic in Los Angeles. People are offering us spaces, so it's obviously filling a need. Global Capital Network, March 26th, Newport Beach Marriott. That's another investor event. We're going to be there at tables talking to people that want to spend money and invest in the future and the health of the planet and their children. Of course, Bioneers is coming up in Berkeley. The Biohacker World, March 28th, 29th. Uprising Together in Simi Valley. Soil Summit 2 in Ojai. The Global Earth Repair Convergence up at Port Townsend, Washington. It'll be up there again with Julia and our video team in May. And then we're just announcing the Regenerative World Cup in July. That's what we're producing. So before we finish, if we could just go around in the minute we have, if people can give your website and your email, and that'll about bring us to the end, and we'll go back to Devin. So why don't we start with AJ, and we'll just please share everyone's information.
Yes, hi. I don't really have a website, but you can look up all my information on LinkedIn. Ajay Dugar is my LinkedIn ID. I also have a consultancy which I recently launched called Astro Bridge Advisor. So that does have a website, astrobridge.space.
Excellent. And I know you can reach Aari through ARC, but what's your information, Aari, please?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to get me by email, that's good too, Aari13@gmail. One of the sites I'll focus on right now as far as mine is growthecongo.com. That is definitely one that I'm pretty passionate about. That's phytoremediation using industrial hemp on contaminated mines in the Congo. So between that and then the Alliance for Regen Communities, my services are between website development and some of the other resources that are listed there. So you can definitely request that through the ARC website. And then on growthecongo.com, sign the petition for our tremendous framework that we would like to put forward to solve a lot of these problems of lack of infrastructure and contamination in the Congo. So
amazing, thinking globally. And Julia, I know you have a lot of great administrative skills in media. How would people contact you?
I actually am also just on LinkedIn for now. You can find me at Julia Lentz. There's a lot of us, so I would just type in Los Angeles because I'm a psycho and I've looked at all the other Julia Lentzes in the world. But that's me. And my email is julialentz22@gmail.com.
Excellent. And with the 1 second we have left, and we have our Swami of crowdfunding back here and our host and producer giving us a platform, Devin Thorpe. But really quick, Greg, how would people contact you?
Yes, so it's like my name, Greg Wolfe. If you want my email, it's greg@wolfewellness.co. There's no M. Wolf Wellness. I don't know for what it's worth. That's what the website is, wolfewellness.co. And it's also on Instagram. And I don't know if you can scan that, but wolf.wellness on Instagram.
Excellent. Thank you so much, all of you, part of the Alliance for Regenerative Communities. What an amazing team of luminaries. And let's back to Devin and superpowers for good. super green, super crowd. And this has been such an honor. And we're so thankful for all the work that you and Alan have done just to make this happen. So thank you for your time.
Well, it's been a pleasure. This is just such a joy, and it's been great to collaborate with you, Michael. Great discussion. Great, lots of different perspectives. I love that. Thank you very, very much for your help, and thank you for great discussion.